Hello, and welcome to your class orientation today here on the GIC Just Bernard YouTube channel. This is going to be the orientation for the new Circle of Divine Light Magical Lecture Series. What we're going to do today is I'm going to explain a little bit about the series, what we're going to be doing, and the tools that you're going to be needing to do the best you can in this course and to get the most out of it. As I've said in the introduction, this course is free, the video course is free, and I definitely encourage all of you to do the assignments that will be given weekly. We will be giving a written assignment as well as a practice assignment. And what I mean by practice could be anything from meditation to particular energy work or anything like that. So we will be going over theory and practical every week, and we will be giving out assignments on that particular topic of the week. Now, I'm not going to be doing a formal syllabus per se, even though it is very fair to say this will be presented to you similar to a college course. We'll go into that in just a moment. But I don't want to limit our time together by having a particular schedule. I think it's best for me as an instructor, teacher, to really follow the inspiration that I might receive that particular day from my angels or whatever you want to call them. And we're going to get into vocabulary and the fundamentals of some of the language we're going to be using here today, or throughout the course, I should say. The course is going to really, I don't want to say it's going to be an 8-week course, a 12-week course, or a year course, whatever. I'm going to be doing these, I've dedicated myself to be doing about at least 8 of them. So that's about 2 months. But I want to leave it open so that I can continue just to do this if this seems to be a good routine for me and for you, and we're getting a lot of positive feedback. We're going to go ahead and just continue doing it. Those of you who are or have been students of mine in the past, basically I have a 5-year course that I trained my students in back in my magical circle days. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into today's orientation. And the first thing that I'd like you to do is I have to say is get a notebook, get a pad, get a piece of paper, get a pen, and always have a pad and paper ready for notes. Don't worry if you miss something, you're not going to miss it. You'll always be able to watch the video again if we're doing a particular exercise. A lot of people in my field don't like people to take notes because it's distracting from the actual interaction. That's the good news about having video is you can actually take notes while you're watching, and you can always go back in case you feel that you need to experience it as it is at that moment, in case there's kind of any energy exchange or anything like that. So yes, please come to class with a paper and a pen or paper and a pencil. I think the reason why it's important to take notes yourself is that some of the things that I might highlight on the soon-to-be eraser board behind me may not necessarily be something that you're aligning with. And this is the most important part about this course and this particular orientation, is that I want you to really just take what you can use. I know many of you have been practicing energy work or magical work or anything to that per se for a while, and some of you are absolutely brand new, just waking up to your possibilities and really want to really have a more structured environment or have a cyber teacher to carry you through and to help you out, and that's why we're doing this. So yes, again, notebook and paper, that's the first thing you're going to need. The next thing you're going to want is you can either do a physical, or what they call a book of shadows, or a journal, or something to that effect. I have nothing against people using technology. If you're more comfortable transferring your notes or doing your assignments on WordPerfect, you're going to be needing to be doing it on something that is electronically transferable, because of the fact that if you have decided that you are going to do the assignments and you are one of the people that have been chosen to be a personal student of mine, you're going to need to send in the assignments. With that, on that note, I do want to say that I encourage all of you to post your homework, even if you're not a personal student, even if you're not doing the premium version of this particular course. We have the Circle of Divine Light Magical group at thegic.org, and we are going to leave it so you can post your assignments, and that way, maybe you can get some more feedback from other members, other people that are taking this particular series. As well, if you've done good, you should be proud of your work and you should want to post it. So by all means, you are welcome to post your essays and your notes or thoughts at the CODL Magical Lectures group. I forgot what it's called, but it's on the JIC. You'll see CODL. The name CODL, I chose that because of the fact that it represents the Circle of Divine Light. The Circle of Divine Light is the magical tradition that I started with many people many years ago, back in the early 90s in Central Florida in the Tampa Bay area. And the name seemed to have stuck. It seems to be a nice non-denominational name. We're all big on non-denominational on this particular series, so we're going to be talking more about that later. But the Circle of Divine Light, I don't even know if there's any more circles out there that are functioning. There may be, for all I know. I know that there are several dozen teachers out there that I have trained with the Circle of Divine Light course, so to speak. And maybe this will encourage them to get started again and start teaching again. But that's where the name comes from. For me, the divine light is the light that shines within all of us, a light that connects us to the all, the everything, the everyone, every grain of sand, every drop of water in the ocean and the lakes, and every molecule of air, every blood vessel, every DNA strand, everything is, to me, the divine light that's within us all. It's just a matter of aligning ourselves with that light and really enhancing our connection to it as we unfold and as we learn more about ourselves, because this is going to be quite a interesting journey in self-discovery and self-empowerment. And whether you consider yourself to be a light worker or an indigo child or a rainbow child or a crystal child or a pagan child or an ancestral reincarnated Egyptian magician, whatever it is, we are going to be here to help you not only come to terms with that, because I know it's very frightening for a lot of people when they start having psychic dreams or have that big aha moment, and then you start feeling like you're just this one person in this, what I call the stranger in a strange land syndrome. Kind of like, okay, is anybody else feeling what I'm feeling? Yeah, we are. There's millions of us. It's happening everywhere, all around the world. So that's the good news. So, yeah, back to the homework stuff. Yeah, if you have a WordPerfect program or something to that effect, you can go ahead and use that. Like I said, you will need to. Again, if you would like to do the whole arts and crafts pretty, Book of Shadows, traditional charmed wannabe type thing. I'm okay with that too. I have one. Unfortunately, I don't have mine with me right now, but if mine was, I think mine weighs about 30 pounds now from all the years of notes and writing and whatnot. As a matter of fact, the manuscript for my book, the Book of One, is in my Book of Shadows. And we're going to be talking about the Book of One a little bit today. Let me just go ahead and put that out there. I'm not going to require people to buy the Book of One as a study guide, but I will say, if you get lost in my particular philosophy, if you get lost in, where is he getting this from, it all comes from the Book of One. And I'm not going to say the exercises. I'm merely speaking of the philosophy and the fundamentals for the spirituality that I am aligned with and that I am most comfortable in sharing with others as someone who has experienced that incredible experience, which was the channeling of the book. Many people have called it the New Age Tao Te Ching or the New Age Dhammapada. It's basic fundamental principles that make life easier if you can really embrace them. Let me see. Do I have a copy here? Let's see. And of course, I don't have one close by. I know it's around here somewhere, but maybe I'll show it to you during the next filming. But anyway, if you're interested, yes, of course, I encourage you to buy it just to buy it. But I'm just saying, as far as the course is concerned, it's not necessary. But it would make it easier for you if you did have it when I started making reference to it, which will probably be most of the time. Also, what I'd like is when you do come to class, and I would suggest that you make this a formal scheduled event for you, not just a haphazard, I saw the video and, I'm just going to sit here and watch it. I saw him post it. Give yourself the opportunity to schedule a quiet hour for this. Give yourself, let's say, I'm going to be posting them every Wednesday afternoon Eastern time. So depending on where you live, maybe you can schedule something for Wednesday night or Thursday morning or, whatever you want. But I will say that you will probably get the most out of it if you approach this particular series like you are taking a class. If you give yourself that focus and that intention of, okay, I'm going to sit down from 3 to 4:30 every Friday afternoon and watch the next video, and then I'm going to do, the homework that after the course or whatever. So that's another important suggestion that I think is something that you might want to consider. The other thing is don't come to class. Once you've scheduled your class, don't come to class with an attitude. Don't come to class stressed out. Don't come to class feeling antsy or anything like that. What I'm going to suggest, and we're going to do it here today, is to do a grounding exercise before you even get started. Put yourself in the moment, kind of like bringing the thoughts, reeling them in, putting them into perspective, and grounding yourself so you can be here now and enjoy the interaction that we're having, and also really have the ability to let your mind stay focused on the actual work that's being done here between the both of us. With that being said, I would highly recommend, due to the fact that we will be doing energy work, we're going to be doing energy exercises, that you don't come to class on a full stomach. We used to, back in the high days, you want to call it, and no pun intended, even though, no, but anyway, during the peak days, or whatever you want to call it, of the Circle of Divine Light, I did used to instruct the students not to eat after 3 p.m. And the reason why is because if you're doing energy work on a full stomach, the blood is going to be in your stomach and not in your brain. Yes, this is a mind, body, and spirit thing. Actually, everything is a mind, body, and spirit interaction and relationship. However, I would like to suggest that, if you're a little hungry, go ahead, have a cracker or a piece of bread or something like that, so you don't get the rumbling tummy issue. But I think that actually I feel and I know, and we're going to talk about that in just a second, that it's best not to do the course or to take the class during a very full stomach. Again, you want a light snack or something, that's fine, but don't be weighed down with a heavy meal before you start taking this class. The other thing is that I would like to see your feedback. I would like to see your comments. I would like to see what your experiences are. So, after you've tried your experience, after you've tried your exercise, again, even if you're not a premium personal student, by all means, share your experiences here on the YouTube page or on the GIC page if you're a member. We do have, different levels of interaction going on here. So I know some of you will be watching it on YouTube, some of you will be watching this on the GIC, then some of you will be literally under my wing, so to speak. And so I just want everybody to know this is full participation no matter what level you are, and I think that's the gist of what I'm trying to say here. The first thing I need to talk about is our language and our vocabulary that we're going to be using here during the series. You're going to hear terms like source, you're going to be hearing terms like God, goddess, spirit, elements, magic. All of these terms will be used, but I want to help you understand how, in what way we're going to be using them here during this magical series. So we'll start with source. To me, and I'm going to express all of these as to me, because the one thing that I think is important that we all have a grasp of is that just because you feel something is one thing doesn't mean it's the same thing for another person. So I think it's important that we start off our beliefs with to me or for me. So let's start with that. And I'll say let's start with the word source. For me, the word source really is the, how shall we say, the source of all things, the source of all creation, the spark of life that created the universe. You can call it the creator, the creatrix, the god, the goddess, whatever you wish. In Kabbalah, it's called Keter, the crown. If you do have the opportunity to look up the meaning of Keter, it's a good definition of what, to me, source means. Right now, the word source is being used a lot in the channeling world and in the New Age metaphysical world, and justifiably so, I will say. I think it's a wonderful way of expressing the context of non-duality and pure love and pure light and so forth. So that's what you're going to be hearing. That's what I'm going to mean when I say the word source. Beyond that, let me actually, before I do God and goddess, let me explain to you about one. And I spell it capital O, capital N, capital E, and because that's the way it was given to me. You're going to be hearing a lot about these entities called one. They have expressed themselves to me as the emissaries of light. They have been basically part of my life, all my life, I will say. I have a personal belief that I am incarnated as one of them. And basically they're transdimensional entities Every person, I guess, has their higher self. You can call it my higher self. Every person has their guides or their angels or whatnot that they work with. And ONE1 is the term that I'm using when I refer to my guides or my higher self. So that's that. Let's talk about God. We're going to be using the word God. And I don't want to freak anybody out if you're not a Christian, and I don't want to really emphasize it as a Christian term. To me, God is the male polarity of the split from the one source. When we let's say I don't want to use the fall from grace, because that's such a horrible story, especially when it deals with women and what it's done to women over the last 5,000 years. So I'm not even going to go there, but it's basically when the separation from the divine happens, all of a sudden you have two. And then those two become a particular energy, if that's what you want to call it. Again, you can refer to the tree of life. You have the Keter on the top, and you have the god and the goddess, or I already forgot the terminology. I'm a little rusty with the Kabbalah terms, and I probably won't be using them much. But it's the male aspect. It's the catalyst. It's the masculine. It's the hunter. It's the aggressor. It's the war. It's anything dealing with male, non-submissive, non-passive energy. And the opposite is what I refer to when I refer to goddess. Goddess is the feminine aspect of the split from source, from a divine. And goddess is all things that are feminine. It is creativity. It is gentleness. It is nurturing. It is the life giver, the giver of life, birth, the act of birth, the act of compassion. All the things that we, sadly in our society, kind of scoff at because we've been trained and have been in such a patriarchal world for the last 5,000 to 10,000 years. It's goddess. It's the divine mother. It is the mother of all things. But I will say, again, we're just going to be using these in metaphysical terms. If we want to go into actual gods and goddesses, that would be separate from this particular orientation. And we probably will discuss different aspects so you can align yourself with certain energies that are related with the terms like Isis or Diana or Gaia or anything like that. But that's going to be a little bit down the line. And we're going to do that, but it's going to be down the line. Let's get the foundation first. The next term you're going to be hearing a lot of is element and elemental. I work with the system of Western, old ancient, or not ancient, but the old Western elemental paradigm of earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. It was believed, especially in alchemy, and that we're going to be doing so much inner alchemy, that it's an easier paradigm for me to use to instruct you with the subtleties of those particular energies. And earth, I'm not going to go into elementals, per se. We're not going to get into fairies and gnomes and trolls and archangels and all that stuff at the beginning. The first thing we're really going to get into is understanding the subtle energies that are associated with earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. And they each have a particular energy, quote unquote. I'm using that word a lot too. And I want to make sure that we all have the understanding of those particular energies. That way we can identify them. I feel that most of us that are going through this awakening process have a difficult time understanding the subtleties of the changes that are happening to us and around us, and in a almost I don't want to say schizo or manic, but it's just a very fast pace. It's so fast. The awakening process seems to be happening quicker and quicker these days, and the energies around us are constantly shifting, not only throughout our lives, but now it's from hour to hour, day to day. And a lot of it has to do with the balance of these particular elements, magical elements within our bodies and in the world around us. So we're going to go into that probably very, very soon in the next coming weeks. Also, the word energy. To me, energy just means movement. What I mean by that is movement in the sense of thoughts, movement in the sense of electromagnetics, movement in the sense of exchange of ideas, just movement of energy. Sorry, I had to laugh at that one. Everything has a particular energy because everything really does has a subtle movement to it. Even a rock has movement to it within its atoms, and within the atomic structure of a rock are I'm already forgetting the term. Sorry. But are quarks and all these other little things, and we have to realize that everything is moving constantly moving. And that to me is energy. I also interchange the word energy sometimes with chi. I will do my best to call chi or ki or whatever. And another word that needs to be defined for this particular course. And again, the chi is very similar to one. It's the infinite thread, the infinite connection to all things, the web of life that connects everything with everyone. And when we get into healing and into Reiki, and as we start focusing more on that, we're going to talk a lot more about Qi. Other language that I might be using, I will always try to forewarn you, or at least explain myself if it's a new term that perhaps you may not know. So as we have the classes in the coming days and weeks, if there is a new term that I need to define for you, I will be more than happy to. What I'm going to be doing today is referring you, and this is something that I feel that every single one of you must do eventually, is go to the GIC.org, and on the right-hand column, if you go down about halfway, you're going to see a red bar and a green bar. One says Consciousness Cinema, and the other one says Red Pill Cinema. We put those up there kind of like intending to share this course, but through documentary and through movies. Those are full-length documentaries. Those are full-length movies, and they're great for reference. I'm not going to give a reading list. I may throw out a book here and there that I might recommend for you depending on the class, but I am going to put out a viewing list, and that is the viewing list, the Consciousness Cinema and the Red Pill movies. Some of them you're going to have a lot more questions afterward. Some of them you're going to laugh at, but it's still a point of reference, and it's going to help you in the coming weeks as we delve deeper into what it means to be an awakened being, to be the actualized being that we're all striving to be, and having that connection with Source. And what does it mean to be an awakened being here in today's world? For me, I will say that, we talk about love and light a lot, and sadly it's been hijacked by a lot of cult leaders and Illuminati type figures, and actually some malevolent extraterrestrial figures and organizations. But the reality of it is love represents the divinity, the divine, the energy, the God, the goddess, whatever you want to call it. And light represents knowledge. And, a part of being a magical being or a light worker or a pagan or a witch or a crystal child or a rainbow child is to be aware of the world around you, to be aware of the way I don't want to say the way that things are, but to understand the way that the world functions as a whole. We are no longer in a small community. We now live in a global community. And I'm very happy about that. I think it's a great, great thing that we can all love our planet and love each other at once without being, prejudiced that, oh, well, you're from Florida and you're from Hong Kong or whatever. It's actually always was silly. I just think that we finally have evolved to the point where now we're one planet, one people. I've got that Black Eyed Peas song in my head now. That's a great song. Anyway, so by all means, look at the Red Pill movies, look at the consciousness cinema. Try to watch all of them in your own time. You probably have enough there to last you a year. And, at least you'll have an idea of some of the tools that you have and some of the hindrances that are being put upon us subconsciously by the establishment, for lack of a better term. We're not going to get political here. I want to say that now. This is not going to be a New World Order 101 class or anything like that. We will touch on understanding the fundamentals of the New World Order and the Illuminati. I kind of call it. Actually, I'll share this term with you. My father used to say to me, "If you want to beat the devil at his game, you got to play by his rules." So I found that having more knowledge and having more understanding of the mechanisms of the establishment, whether it be the banking system or the media and how it works and it manipulates you, the fashion world. I used to be a fashion stylist. It was all about manipulation. And to give you an example, my last boss used to tell me, we could sell a plate of shit as long as we dressed it up and made it look good. And that's the mentality. That's the mentality. You look at, everything that's going on in the media today, and it really is a plate of shit. Dressed up to look pretty. But that's my opinion. That's merely my opinion. It's not to me it is a fact, but it is true. Anyway, and so there you have a nice list of movies that you can see, and they're completely free. They were found on Google. They're all free. No copyright infringement toward anybody or anything like that. Also, what I wanted to say was the first thing that I want to teach you today, and this will be the foundation of the rest of the courses, is the way to do the homework. Every professor, every teacher has their way that they want their homework presented to them. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. And we're going to have a brief overview of how to write an essay, because every assignment is going to be given or returned or for your own good. If you want to have a nice book of shadows or iPad of shadows, you want to write well. You want to have a nice record of what you've done. You want it to be well written and well expressed. And for me, I found the easiest way to do this is the essay format. I used to have my students do a research paper, but I don't see that happening here. That's going to be a little bit too much for me as one out of several 100,000 of you that watch this. So what I'm going to say is let's stick everything to essay format, a basic essay format. Now, you're probably wondering, God, I had never finished high school, or I never went to college, or I haven't been in high school for 40 years, so I don't remember how to do an essay. I'm going to remind you. It's pretty easy. I wish I had my eraser board so I could show you, but I will do my best. Maybe I can upload some notes or something to the GIC, the CODL lecture series group on the GIC. I'm not going to make any promises. If I remember to do it, I will do it. So here you go. What is an essay? Well, the essay basically has three main parts. Okay, for our for our purposes, our essays are each going to be 5 paragraphs long. Okay, every homework, every assignment is going to be 5 paragraphs long. Every essay has 3 parts. Okay, the homework might be 5 paragraphs, but every essay, no matter who and what length, has three parts. It has the thesis, which is, and your opening, your thesis is in your opening paragraph. It has the body, and then it has the closing and the conclusion. What is a thesis? The thesis is going to be your foundation of your essay. Okay, your thesis is going to tell. Now, let's break this down. We're in the opening paragraph now, okay? Your thesis is going to tell the reader what you're talking about and the topics that you're talking about. I was going to give you an example. My mind just went blank. I apologize. This happens a lot when we're doing live filming. Anyway, your thesis is going to explain. Let's say we're doing an essay on the elements here. Very easy. Very easy. Let's say we're doing an essay on the elements. Your thesis would say something kind of like, and don't use this one because I don't know if you're using it. In metaphysical work, many practitioners use the 5 elements of earth, air, fire, and water to better align themselves with the unseen world. Okay, that would be the thesis. In that same opening opening paragraph, you want to explain that thesis a little bit. In other words, okay, the thesis is, in the days of your magical alchemists used to use the elements to help themselves align with unseen forces. Most of them would use the 5 elements of earth, air, fire, and water. Each of these have a particular energy that goes with it. Now, those are 2 more sentences. So you're going to explain what you're going to basically be sharing in the body. All right? So there's our opening paragraph with the thesis at the beginning. In the body, you're going to explain what you talked about in your thesis. If your thesis is they use 5 elements, well, you're probably going to have to do a 7-paragraph essay and have 5 body paragraphs, but your body would start off with the element of earth is one of the elements that are used, blah, 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 blah. And that'll be the first sentence of your first body paragraph. And you would go on to explain the element of earth in that body paragraph. The next one would be, in whatever order you put it in, air. Your air paragraph, explaining air. Your fire paragraph, explaining fire. Then at the end, you're going to write your conclusion. Basically, the conclusion tells the reader what you were talking about and gives them a hook to hold on to. A conclusion would be, this is a very poor example, but again, off the top of my head, a conclusion would be something like, and so the use of elements have been found to be fundamentally useful in self-transformational alchemy. Okay? Not bad for off the top of my head. Again, let's review ever so quickly. You have your thesis, which is in your opening paragraph. You have the rest of the sentences in the opening paragraph explaining what you're about to talk about in the body, explaining what you're talking about in the body, and then your closing and conclusion, which wraps up the whole article. When I was an instructor for Paul Mitchell, they used to train, when I went through my training for them, they used to say, when you do a presentation, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. So that's basically what an essay is. It just happens to be a little bit more structured. So again, thesis in the opening paragraph, body, paragraphs, and then closing and whatnot. So that's going to be an essay, okay? So that, if in case you had forgotten how to make one, now you know how to do one again. I encourage you to write them, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to put out this offer to all of you who are watching this particular course, especially if you're a member of the GIC, and even if you're not, you're still open to this offer. You write a really good paragraph, I'm going to post it, and I'm going to feature it on the GIC blog, okay? The better writer you are, as a matter of fact, it's a great way to get people to start blogging. I never thought of it that way. Great idea. But yeah, I'm going to put that offer out there. If you write a really good essay and post it to me, and it's good, I mean, it's got to be reasonably good, I'm going to go ahead and post it. Actually, I'll post it anyway, but I'll feature it and spread it out through the Facebook pages and all that. So how's that? Okay? Give you a little encouragement to write a nice essay. Alrighty then. That's that part. Let's go to the fundamental now on exercises, on the practical. We want to ground ourselves before every class, okay? And it's going to be very simple. And I'm going to wrap up this particular segment with this. Breathe. Just breathe. Remember to take a breath. And what we're going to do, and you can join me now too, is get comfortable wherever you are. Put your feet firmly on the ground. Sit in a chair. I would prefer you sitting in a chair while you're in class. And, straighten up your shoulders, close your eyes, and learn to breathe in through your nose. And a lot of us might have sinus problems, especially with the weather, depending on where we live, but you'd be surprised if you focus. And the proper way to breathe, especially in energy work, is to inhale through the nose, filling the diaphragm and the belly, not your chest. You don't want your chest to come out. You want your belly to come out. So let's try that again. Exhale a little bit, and let's fill in our nose. Hold it for a moment, and then release it. Notice you'll feel more relaxed already. You'll feel more centered and more here. Do that about 3 or 4 times. And we'll call this our focus. All right? When I say let's do a focus, that's what I'm going to mean. Here's a new vocabulary word. Because the grounding is different. We're going to go into grounding. So let's do a focus. So we'll do it 3 times. And now that you're focused, you're ready for your first homework assignment. Yeah, I give homework in orientation. I would like you, in your own topic, to do a practice essay. And what that practice essay is going to be on is why you feel you are a light worker, rainbow child, crystal child, witch, magician, whatever label you want to use, because we all feel comfortable with our belief system, and that's fine. Whatever works for you will work for me. I would like you to do a 5-paragraph essay on why I consider myself a fill in the blank, light worker, witch, pagan, da 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 da. Okay? Or even just the word awakened, why I consider myself awakened. So that's going to be your assignment for this week. I look forward to talking to you again next week, and I look forward to seeing you post your homeworks and your essays. And again, remember, I'd be more than happy to feature it if you write a good one. This is Dr. Bernard Alvarez here from the Global Illumination Council, and I thank you so much. If you do have it within you, I'm going to pass the plate psychically. And, go give a buck or two at the GIC. It'd be great. It's a nice way to exchange energy. Thank you. We'll see you next week.